What you're about to see are actual comments by parents of real Marines.
Alex was a typical student.
In high school, Adrian was a typical teenager, but she was into sports.
Typical kid of that time.
His grades could have been much better. He had more excuses than you can imagine.
She could have focused more on the academics in high school.
I could never get her up in the morning to go to school.
He just was very hard to deal with for a while. He just kind of hung around with the wrong crowd.
To describe her as having an attitude problem would be an understatement. I was in my own battle zone, only I didn't have combat training.
When he was in high school, he was a typical young man. Didn't really know exactly where he was going, what he was going to do with his life. Out of the blue, it just all of a sudden it hit him. He wanted to be a Marine.
She walked into my job and looked at me and she just said, "Mom, don't cry, don't get upset, but I'm joining the Marines."
So then one day he comes home and tells me that he needed to talk to us, and he was wanting to join the Marines.
What she said was basically, don't be surprised, Dad. I'm joining the Marines. I've signed up and I'm going to go in a couple months. It was just a big shock.
We had intended for him to go straight to college out of high school.
I didn't expect military at all.
We thought that he was going to go on to college, and this had kind of fallen off to the wayside.
I was very nervous at first because I didn't know what to expect.
She was in college for about 2 years. She didn't love it, I think, the way she thought she was going to. And she was kind of looking for something.
She had some friends that went through boot camp and came back, and she saw how they had grown.
And she just couldn't get over the difference in their attitude, just their direction. You know, she said, I think I want to try this. And, you know, at first we kind of laughed at her and like, "Adrian, you know, why the Marines?" You know, and she said, "They're the best." I'm like, "What?" Okay.
She's a typical mother, worried about her child leaving her.
I was worried about, first, number one, he's never been away from home, and we have been real protective of him.
Well, I was a little surprised. I was a little apprehensive at first.
I was concerned because I've always been protective of my son.
I think I'm like every mom. I was worried, and at first I thought, "Oh, geez, what a decision."
I was scared to death.
Parents are going to be anxious.
Oh, yes.
They're going to be anxious. I don't care, father or mother.
When I really realized that Walt had made his mind up to join the Marines, then as a mother, I had to stand behind him.
He seemed absolutely certain in his mind and heart that that is what he wanted to do, so I had to support him.
He obviously had put a lot of forethought into this. It wasn't a quick decision that he'd made, but I do confess that I started to cry.
My wife said, "We have to talk," and she told me what was going on, and he called later, and I asked, my first comment to him was, "Did you sign the papers yet?" And he said, "I knew you would be like this." And I said, "I don't think it's a bad idea. I just wanted to know if you've really thought it through." And he said he talked to all the recruiters in all branches like at least twice. And after he did that and told us a few things, we were very satisfied with it, even though we were apprehensive. I thought he was making a good decision. He really wasn't committed to school at that time, and we thought it was a good thing for him to do, and we still do.
I cried for the first 2 days, and it was very hard for me to take it in that he was leaving me.
I was a little concerned because she had a problem with authority, how she was going to deal with all these people screaming in her face.
The morning he left for boot camp, I cried.
I just looked and I knew my little girl was leaving.
I was happy in a way and then sad in another, because I didn't know what to expect.
Well, I was afraid they were taking him away from me, and I was going to miss him, and that's hard.
I was proud, and I was sad at the same time to see him go.
It was difficult for me to let go, but it helped me understand that a mother has to let go.
I was extremely worried about him. I know that the Marine Corps is not a place to be unless you want to be there. If you want to be there, it has all the opportunities in the world for you, but it's something that what you put in is what you get out.
His dad kept saying, "Let him grow up. This is going to make him a man."
I just hoped he was going to survive it.
We were more afraid than she was. She was ready to go.
When he first got there, his letters were like, "I'm homesick. You know, Mama, I want to come home."
She wrote every single day. One day was, "I hate it. I want to go home." And a couple days after that, "Well, it's not that bad. The food's okay." She started making friends.
Some of the letters we got, you could start seeing the boy becoming a man.
I could tell just from his letters that he wasn't a kid anymore.
You hear about the horrors of boot camp, but actually he wrote us in one letter, "I'm having a good time so far." We were like, wow.
Each letter got a little more excited or a little more enthusiastic about the whole process.
His attitude, his commitment didn't surface till he got into the Marine Corps.
When I first saw him for the first time after 3 months, it was like, that's my son.
We saw the finished product out of boot camp, which was discipline, respect. He seemed proud of himself. That made us proud.
At the graduation, you were just beaming. I don't think you could be more proud of your kid.
I went to Jen's graduation, and that day was the proudest day a mother could have other than the day she was born. You just look at her standing there, and it's not your baby anymore.
Big feeling of pride.
You could see that it was a good experience for her.
And it was the same old Adrian, but a grown-up Adrian.
Definitely was the right thing for her to do. She grew up. Things meant more to her. She had focus, direction.
Knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have tried to shy her away from going. I was a little worried about her actually signing up.
What Adrian went through and how she's grown, I think everybody should go through it.
At graduation, she was standing up straight, and even the way she talked, she was just like soft-spoken and so polite. We were laughing. It's like, you know, what have you done with my daughter?
I was very happy for him. He looked excellent.
Kids are going to be kids, and the Marine Corps turns them into grown-ups, and that's what it's all about.
When I first saw Leanne, I was very proud of her.
I was very surprised. The way she walked, the way she held herself, everything was perfect.
I think after boot camp, when I saw that he survived all these terrible things that I had anticipated, I was satisfied that he could survive in the Marine Corps.
So it was really great to see him. But he just looked fabulous and very proud to be a Marine. He knew he'd really accomplished something, and when we sat through the graduation and just saw all the families that were there supporting their kids, you know, and we're just happy to see how well they were doing. It made you feel very proud and great inside.
The Marine Corps training was very rigorous, and he expressed some reservations about being able to finish it, and he did with flying colors, and we're quite proud of him for doing that.
Whether he goes to college or not, he's getting a good basis for all life skills.
He's presently right now taking college classes. His goal is to have his degree.
I don't think there's anything better that a young man can do to gain the confidence they're going to need in life.
I've seen Ross go from a high school student with no direction to a man that knows where he's going, and I'm quite proud of him.
He's happy, and he's grown into a really fine young man.
After boot camp, he was a real gentleman, a person that I didn't think I had.
The friends he's made in the Marine Corps, the camaraderie, it's just something that he'll never forget.
The pride is absolutely unbelievable.
I was very proud, very proud. And I said, well, Damon, you've done it.
I've seen a big difference, a big difference in Brent, and I'm very proud of him. It's a great decision, and I'm glad we supported him.
We are extremely proud, and we wouldn't have missed it for the world.
If you've got a child, son or daughter, that gets into the Marine Corps, you're going to have somebody to be very proud of.
The Marine Corps, to me, is one of the best things he's ever chosen to do.